morning I wake up to a new headline lying about me. I have comedians dressing up in whiteface. I have people saying I'm not fit to be CEO. And I have Candace Owens claiming I murdered my husband. And the list goes on and on and on.
What are you going to ask her? At the bottom here, you can see I said, I'm asking everything. First question, why did you murder your husband? Cry emoji. And I have made a lot of claims about you lying, and I stand by the claims that I have made on this show.
People thought the controversy surrounding Erika Kirk was finally starting to cool down. But instead, everything just exploded to a whole different level. New claims, resurfaced connections, public appearances raising eyebrows, and non-stop online speculation have turned this story into one of the most talked about situations on the internet right now. From alleged behind-the-scenes tensions and questions about leadership at TPUSA.
When a political activist is murdered on a college campus, the American people expect the FBI to move immediately. No delays, no distractions, just action, right? Now, there are serious allegations that in the aftermath of the assassination of Charlie Kirk at the Utah University, the FBI's elite shooting reconstruction team was delayed in getting to the scene, not because they were not ready, but because of a pilot shortage tied to FBI Director Kash Patel's use of Bureau aircraft.
To viral clips, heated reactions, and growing debates involving major public figures, the pressure surrounding Erika keeps getting more intense by the day. And now people are split right down the middle. Some believe serious questions still need real answers, while others say the internet has pushed speculation way beyond the facts. What's making this even crazier is how fast every new detail spreads online.
No. All right, guys, keep moving out that way.
One interview, one clip, one post, and suddenly the entire conversation shifts again. Supporters are defending Erika fiercely, critics are demanding accountability, and the internet keeps digging deeper into every public move connected to this story. So what is actually going on here? Which claims are backed by facts, and which ones are being blown completely out of proportion?
I have comedians dressing up in whiteface. I have people saying I'm not fit to be CEO. And I have Candace Owens claiming I murdered my husband. And the list goes on and on and on.
In this video, we're breaking down the biggest controversies, the viral moments everyone keeps talking about, and why this situation has people arguing non-stop across social media. Every move Erika Kirk has made to fix her public image and shut down the rumors has blown up right in her face. What was supposed to smooth things over is now making everything look even messier, and the attention on her is hitting a whole new level right now. More sources keep popping up, and they are not staying quiet either.
In what ways have you grown closer to Jesus?
I serve a righteous God. And that is why we say our prayers. We are all his children.
They're dropping very specific details that keep pulling more drama into the spotlight, giving people even more reasons to question everything and keep the conversation going non-stop. Now people are directly calling out alleged links that supposedly connect Erika to Jeffrey Epstein's circle, along with growing whispers tied to her husband's case. And that's exactly why everybody is locked into this story right now. On April 29th, Erika appeared at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, the same high-profile event where FBI Director Kash Patel was also in attendance. People at the dinner claimed Erika looked extremely comfortable around Patel, with both of them smiling, standing close together, and seeming very relaxed in each other's presence.
Man, that young man, I forgive him.
Then things reportedly got chaotic when loud noises suddenly erupted inside the venue, and Patel allegedly moved quickly to escort her out himself. That detail alone has people talking nonstop, because Patel is also the official connected to the federal investigation surrounding the case tied to Charlie's death, which instantly raised even more questions online. This is the same case that has barely seen any major public movement, with no huge breakthroughs and millions of people still waiting for real answers while everything stayed strangely quiet for way too long. Now, even more details are coming out, and they're making people raise serious questions everywhere. Reports claim the FBI reconstruction team was delayed getting to the scene on September 9th. And according to sources discussing the timeline, that delay has allegedly been connected to Kash Patel himself. But the part getting the biggest reaction right now is Erika's reported attitude toward him. Instead of publicly pushing for answers, demanding updates, or showing frustration over the slow progress in her husband's case, sources claim Erika has stayed unusually warm and friendly with Patel the entire time. People close to the situation say she appeared calm, relaxed, and completely unshaken, even after earlier headlines claimed some of Patel's colleagues were concerned about alleged excessive drinking and unexplained disappearances from work responsibilities. Multiple journalists and independent commentators who were reportedly at the dinner said they could not ignore the energy between Erika and Patel, and several described the interaction as deeply unsettling once you look at the full situation surrounding it all. With so many public questions already being raised about Patel's performance as FBI director, along with the lack of major progress in the Charlie case, many people expected to see tension, frustration, or at least some visible urgency from a woman publicly seeking justice for her husband, instead of what witnesses claimed looked surprisingly relaxed and comfortable. Instead, witnesses said they saw smiles, easy conversations, and a level of comfort that people online say just does not match the seriousness of the situation at all.
Laura Loomer is a monster, okay? The outside matches the inside. Know that. She is an ugly human being, an ugly person who spends her entire life, I'm not exaggerating, she is on X, she's on social media all day, attempting to destroy the lives of innocent people. She is anti-American, okay? This is not what Americans spend their time doing. She's unhinged. She's a lunatic. And the president of the United States trusts this person. God, Laura Loomer is garbage.
That contrast hit people hard because many believe it clashes with the image Erika has publicly presented for months. Critics are now openly questioning how she can publicly claim forgiveness toward the person she says is responsible for Charlie's death, while still appearing far more upset over a comedy skit made by Drosky. One situation centers around justice in a deeply serious case, while the other involves a comedian doing an impression for entertainment. That difference has people talking nonstop because many viewers noticed Erika seemed more emotionally reactive to the comedy clip than to the reported lack of progress and unanswered questions surrounding the investigation itself. That comparison has sparked loud reactions online, with people heavily debating her priorities and public behavior. Then Candace jumped into the situation and pushed the controversy into an even bigger storm, claiming the reported incident at the White House Correspondents' Dinner may have been staged. She alleged that cameras seemed almost too perfectly placed to capture Erika leaving the event in tears, which led her to suggest the moment looked carefully planned instead of being a completely natural reaction during a chaotic situation. That accusation spread incredibly fast online and poured even more pressure onto a story that was already exploding across social media and news discussions. Not long after, reports claimed the issue reached powerful circles, leading to a sharp public response that appeared to directly reference Candace herself.
Does it say, if you're a widow, you get a free pass to lie to anyone you want, to gaslight everybody you meet, for everything you've ever done in your entire life that is dog doo-doo? You just get overlooked. No one's allowed to bring it up. No one's allowed to talk about it. For the rest of your life, everyone has to fawn all over you and support you because, my God, you're a widow. It doesn't exist. I've looked at scripture. It's not in there.
The post reportedly featured an edited image showing her as a Time Magazine Person of the Year, paired with a caption implying her public credibility had seriously declined. That response only added more heat to an already intense back and forth, with both sides getting heavily discussed online. That response still has not been officially verified, but the fallout from the entire situation keeps getting louder and more chaotic by the hour. Across media platforms and online discussions, people are arguing nonstop, with some viewers now closely analyzing and questioning nearly every public move Erika makes. The debate has become extremely intense, and every new detail seems to spark another massive wave of reactions and speculation. Others are pushing back hard, saying people are jumping to reckless conclusions based more on online speculation than confirmed facts. Even with that debate happening, clips from the dinner continue spreading everywhere, with viewers replaying every second and analyzing each moment frame by frame.
For some reason, there's a lot of people that are really afraid of this nappy-headed black bitch who just has a lot to say, but not really a lot to offer. So I'm not afraid of Candace Owens. Candace Owens is just this one resentful ghetto black bitch. Like, that's literally what she is. She's a racist too. Like, you could listen to this, and I'm not a racist person, right? Like, I don't hate black people, but I say she's a ghetto black bitch because you have to listen to the way that she has so much resentment for white girls, like white girls with blonde hair and blue eyes. And, you know, I'm originally a blonde too. I have blonde hair and blue eyes, right? Maybe that's why Candace has so much resentment towards me.
People are closely watching Erika's interactions, the timing of her exit, her visible emotions while leaving, and even the people standing around her, treating the footage almost like evidence being picked apart in a public investigation. At the same time, commentators are fiercely debating whether the entire situation is being amplified for attention and online engagement, or if there are still major details that simply have not been revealed publicly yet. Meanwhile, pressure keeps building on officials to finally provide real clarity in the investigation tied to Charlie's case. Many people feel they have waited far too long for solid answers, and the patience that once existed is now running dangerously thin. Until something solid and officially verified comes out, the noise surrounding this situation is not slowing down at all. It's getting louder, more aggressive, and more coordinated every single day. Online discussions have become especially sharp, with some critics crossing into deeply personal attacks aimed at Erika's intelligence and character. I just wanna. At the same time, others are strongly pushing back, arguing that those kinds of personal attacks only weaken serious questions that people believe should still be addressed fairly and responsibly. Meanwhile, another layer of controversy has started building around Candace Owens as well. Reports and online speculation have been spreading that Laura Loomer may have had some connection to the post about Candace that circulated heavily across social media. That claim added another dramatic twist to an already chaotic situation that keeps getting more complicated by the day. Reports claim Laura had a lot to say about Candace, including sharp personal criticism and remarks that many people online viewed as offensive, adding even more chaos to an already explosive situation. The non-stop back and forth between all these public figures has become incredibly messy, dragging more names into the spotlight whether they wanted the attention or not. While Laura has reportedly been going hard against Candace from multiple angles, other commentators have also started speaking out with their own opinions. Voices like Annika Spar and Baron Coleman have shifted the focus away from just the personal drama and toward what they describe as overly controlled and highly visible PR efforts surrounding Erika's public image. They are openly questioning whether the narrative being presented to the public is truly authentic and consistent. What makes that criticism stand out is that these voices are not seen by many viewers as strongly tied to either side of the conflict, which has caused their comments to carry even more impact in the middle of this growing controversy. Questions are also growing around statements Erika allegedly made during a private meeting with major TPUSA donors, where reports claim she told attendees that Charlie had clearly expressed he wanted her to step in and take over if anything ever happened to him. That is a massive claim, especially because it naturally carries huge influence when it comes to leadership, succession, and public trust surrounding the organization. But critics quickly started pointing out what they see as a major issue with that story. Charlie Kirk was widely known for being extremely detailed, highly organized, and very intentional about how he handled both his organization and the long-term future connected to his name and legacy. Because of that reputation, some people are now questioning why clearer public documentation or confirmation has not surfaced alongside such a major claim. For someone known for operating with that much precision and structure, critics say the lack of clear documented proof behind such a major directive only looks more noticeable the more people examine it. Many are now demanding actual receipts, not just verbal claims, secondhand retellings, or remembered conversations. They want real, verifiable documentation that can publicly confirm what was allegedly said, and that pressure is not fading anytime soon as the debate keeps getting louder online. The pressure surrounding Erika has now reached an entirely different level, with critics digging through every statement tied to her with non-stop intensity and serious focus. Old interviews, past clips, public appearances, and documented connections are all being pulled back into the spotlight and re-examined through a much more skeptical lens than before. And according to many online observers, the more people search, the more unanswered questions seem to appear instead of disappearing, which has now become a major part of the controversy itself. At the same time, Erika's supporters are still standing firmly behind her, arguing that the scrutiny has moved beyond normal accountability and started looking more like a highly coordinated and deeply personal campaign against her reputation and character. But a large and growing group of people still are not convinced, and they are demanding clear, documented, independently verified answers before accepting any version of the official story. What is making the situation even harder to control is how fast the entire narrative keeps changing underneath everyone involved. One day, the main conversation is centered around loyalty, legacy, and protecting what Charlie built. Then, almost instantly, the focus shifts toward trust, transparency, and accountability. That non-stop change keeps people emotionally charged and constantly debating because no single version of the story ever fully settles before another new angle suddenly appears and throws everything back into chaos again. Now, the impact is reportedly starting to hit the organization itself in ways that are becoming much harder to ignore. Reports claim TPUSA has been facing growing challenges with donor confidence, with some major contributors allegedly pulling back or reducing the financial support they once gave without hesitation. That development has only added more pressure to an already tense situation, especially as public scrutiny surrounding Erika and the broader controversy continues getting louder across media and online spaces. Reports claim internal tensions behind closed doors are becoming harder and harder to control, with staff members and longtime team leaders allegedly stepping away from their positions. Multiple universities are also reportedly creating distance between their campus chapters and the central organization. And many observers, both inside and outside the movement, are pointing directly at the growing controversy surrounding Erika as a major reason behind the shift. But at this stage, the situation has grown far beyond just Erika's personal public image alone. The conversation has expanded into much bigger concerns involving organizational leadership, public transparency, and the kind of trust that can take years to build but fall apart incredibly fast when people feel answers are missing. Critics have also started revisiting past associations and business connections linked to individuals in Erika's circle, demanding more clarity about relationships, financial ties, and arrangements they believe were never fully explained to the public. That wider scrutiny is now pulling even more attention onto the organization itself as the pressure continues building. None of these claims have been fully or independently verified, but they are spreading extremely fast and stacking more pressure onto a situation that already feels completely overloaded. Across media spaces and online discussions, commentators from multiple sides keep pointing to the same growing issues surrounding the controversy. For many people watching, this is no longer about one isolated accusation or one awkward public moment. Critics say it now looks more like a larger pattern of inconsistencies that keeps making even longtime supporters feel increasingly uncomfortable and uncertain. And until clear answers are given and the biggest concerns are addressed directly with solid evidence and transparency, many believe the tension surrounding the situation is only going to keep growing instead of fading away. Right now, one of the loudest debates is whether TPUSA can realistically rebuild public trust, restore donor confidence, and regain organizational momentum after this long wave of scrutiny and doubt. Others are questioning whether this could become the exact moment when problems that were allegedly building quietly behind the scenes finally become too large to contain in public view anymore. Analysts and commentators are completely split on where this situation goes next. Some believe this is simply a rough period that an organization with TPUSA's size, reach, and institutional structure can eventually push through and recover from. Others argue the damage to public credibility may have already crossed a line that could take years to repair, even under the most favorable circumstances possible moving forward. What seems undeniable, no matter which side ends up being right, is that the pressure has not slowed down at all. Every public appearance, every statement, and every major organizational move is now being watched and dissected with nonstop intensity that shows no signs of fading anytime soon. At the same time, supporters continue calling for patience, fairness, and restraint, arguing that conclusions should not be rushed without stronger confirmed evidence and clear facts. Critics are now doubling down harder than ever, demanding accountability that is specific, documented, and independently verifiable instead of broad public statements or vague reassurances. That ongoing clash between supporters and critics is keeping tensions extremely high and making any quick resolution feel almost impossible right now. When people discuss Erika at this stage, the conversation is no longer focused on just one incident or one controversy. Critics are pointing toward what they describe as a complicated web of overlapping associations and connections, arguing that those relationships raise larger questions about how certain ties were formed and what may have connected the people involved in the first place. Her past time with the Corcoran Group keeps getting brought back into public discussion as well, with online commentators questioning details about her role there and referencing previously discussed reports tied to the company's past business connections. None of those claims directly prove wrongdoing, but the scrutiny keeps growing because questions are reportedly coming from multiple separate directions instead of just one isolated source. At the same time, broader online speculation involving different public figures and social circles continues spreading as people attempt to connect dots that have not been independently confirmed. Rumors connected to her earlier work in modeling spaces and the people she may have encountered during that period also continue circulating heavily online, adding yet another layer to an already overwhelming controversy. Still, no verified evidence supporting the more extreme versions of these online claims has been publicly presented. Even some of the more serious accusations involving individuals Erika allegedly encountered or worked alongside remain heavily disputed and completely unconfirmed, despite how widely they are being discussed online. That distinction matters because many of these allegations are still firmly in the category of speculation and contested claims, not established facts. But online, everything is being combined into one giant and fast-moving narrative that keeps pulling in more people, more theories, and more emotional reactions every single day. The divide is also becoming much sharper between those who believe voices like Candace are uncovering important issues and those who believe the controversy is being massively exaggerated for attention and engagement. Supporters argue the situation has crossed deep into personal attack territory, saying huge amounts of the content spreading online rely on rumors, secondhand stories, and unverified accusations being repeated as if they are proven facts. Meanwhile, critics continue insisting the sheer number of questions coming from different independent voices means there are legitimate concerns worth examining more closely. And they are showing absolutely no signs of backing away from that stance anytime soon. What is making this entire situation even more explosive is the unbelievable speed at which everything keeps spreading online. Clips, screenshots, posts, and detailed breakdown videos are going viral within minutes. And once information reaches that level of attention, trying to pull it back or properly correct it becomes almost impossible. That nonstop momentum is creating a serious gap between verified facts and rapidly spreading claims. Many observers are warning that the difference between what can actually be confirmed and what people are presenting online as evidence is growing wider by the day, and that raises major concerns for anyone who cares about accuracy in high-profile public controversies. Right now, the atmosphere surrounding the story feels extremely tense, with many people saying it is approaching a real turning point that could permanently shape how the entire situation is remembered in the future. Online comments are also adding even more chaos to the fire, with some users making harsh, personal accusations about Erika and spreading dramatic claims about alleged hidden relationships and secret connections that currently have no publicly verified evidence supporting them. That flood of speculation is only making the situation harder to separate from rumor, emotion, and non-stop internet outrage. Others are digging into family history, old associations, and past connections, trying to build what they believe is a much bigger picture around Erika and the people connected to her. Critics of those theories, however, argue that many of these claims are being pushed far beyond what any publicly available evidence can realistically support. Lifestyle criticism has also exploded across the conversation, with some people questioning the difference between the public image Erika presents and the difficult situation she says she is dealing with behind the scenes. Supporters strongly reject those assumptions, arguing that appearances can be misleading and that people online are making huge judgments based on visuals, rumors, and emotional reactions instead of verified facts. They also argue that social media has made it far too easy for speculation to spread faster than truth. At this point, the comment sections and online debates surrounding this story have turned into a full-scale battleground of competing opinions, with different groups believing completely different versions of what is actually happening and what it all means. So now the conversation turns directly to the audience. What do you think about Erika Kirk and where this entire controversy could be heading next? Are the questions being raised fair and deserving of clear answers? Or has online speculation moved so far ahead of confirmed evidence that the discussion itself is starting to lose touch with what can actually be proven? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let people know where you stand on everything happening right now. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video because this story keeps getting more intense by the day, and the next major update could completely change the direction of the entire conversation.